Hi.
Hi. So you put on your lipstick just for me.
Which is like a super big deal for me right now.
And there's Ryan going, my girl, Eva. I know we're doing a show and tell today. We're doing a little bit, we're going to look at some things. So I want to make sure that everyone in the chat can see everything properly.
Okay.
So,
I'm my best also. I'm in front of one of my paintings, but
I love it. I was so happy. I said, I hope she's sitting in front of one of her paintings. When did you paint that piece?
this is actually probably maybe 4 years old.
It's so pretty. And wait, Eva, I'm not 100% sure. Do you always work in black and white when you paint?
For the most part.
Yeah, I thought so. Well, it's good to see your face again. Episode 67. Well, we just turned the comments off, but we'll turn them back on at one point. Featuring You was released on Monday. You, of course, are known for your beautiful and modern, in the most perfect way, jewelry. But one of the things that we talk about on the podcast is that what people might not know is that you're a painter. We just talked about that, and that you make furniture. And we're going to talk about your collab with Holly Hunt on decor. But first, the jewelry. So another thing that you said on the podcast that I love was that how you combine and layer pieces is just as important as the individual piece. So can you tell us what you're wearing? You're a master of layering, and you're also just a master at accessorizing. And some people, I think, are born with that knack. And your collection epitomizes and it celebrates the layered aesthetic. But tell us about each piece that you're wearing personally and how you're wearing it.
Well, let's see. I can start with my earrings. Can you see?
Yeah.
These are actually brand new, and I'm so excited about them.
The first one? The
first
sort of...
one. So these are hexagon step cut diamonds with a trillion that kind of like hovers underneath the earlobe.
Yeah. They're beautiful. That's like a new shape for you, isn't it?
The silhouette is new, but you know, we use a lot of geometric cuts, and I love the idea of like kind of playing with like combining different shapes and sort of layering them in different ways. And then, you know, I have two of my prism huggies, which feature portrait cut diamonds, which are really, really flat. They're
super
kind of
pretty.
Cut like a piece of glass almost. So they, you know, it's a really special cut. I've been using them for a long time. And the thing I love them for is they're so light also. So you can really layer it up and you don't really feel like you're wearing anything.
Yeah, they do look super light. What's at the top of your ear? What is that? Just like a hoop?
This is another prism huggy. It's a hoop.
Oh, it's another prism huggy.
Yeah. And then an ear cuff. And then on this side, just the hexagon prop.
So pretty. And what's on your what are you wearing on your fingers?
I'm like a little bit light on my fingers,
oh.
But I just added another ring.
What is light for you? Like, how many do you usually wear? Oh, look how pretty that looks.
How many do I usually wear? It totally depends.
Yeah.
It totally depends. I mean, I always wear like at least 2 or 3 rings. You know, my X ring is sort of my uniform, and then I recently got married. And
I know.
I designed my engagement ring, which was such a challenge.
Wait, you know what, Ava? We didn't talk about that much. Let's get into that. Tell us everything about that process.
Well, you know, I knew I wanted something. So this is the ring, and it has I can try to take it off. It has a portrait cut. It's kind of like a step cut, portrait cut hybrid, and it's in this elongated hexagon shape.
So beautiful. Right, it's an elongated hexagon.
Yeah, and I love this. I mean, you know, I love this shape. I've always been really drawn to it. I think there's something kind of perfectly classic, but, you know, slightly non-traditional about it. It's not like totally out of the box, but it feels really special to me. And I wanted a stone that was like, I wanted a really beautiful stone, obviously, but I didn't want something traditional. I also didn't want something like super over the top sparkly, because I do wear so much jewelry. So
yeah.
These are big problems to have.
No, but they're specific. That's what we're talking about today. I want to talk a little bit about how you layer but anyway, so you wanted something that wasn't so sparkly.
For me, I wanted something understated, even though it was a really special stone, which was you know, it's not the easiest thing to find. And then I ended up, and I was very particular about the shape and the cut that I wanted. And so I ended up, you know, after looking at stones and going to gem shows and really like kind of scouring the earth for the perfect thing that I had in my mind, I ended up having something cut from rough, which was equally terrifying because, you know,
let's look at it again. I want to look at it again. Let's see it again. Look at how gorgeous that is. Do you have any rules for layering pieces? What would you teach somebody in terms of how to master the art of layering? Is it about combinations of things? Or what are you wearing around your neck?
Oh, so this is another geometric cut diamond pendant that we just finished, so I had to wear it. And then this is kind of one of our classics, which is the Chrysler Pendant.
Love the Chrysler Pendant.
And it's, so the diamonds are actually ombre, so they go from black to white. And
I can see that.
So they're black, gray, and white. And, you know, each one is hand laid out. But this is kind of one of my, like, classic pieces that also, like, draws inspiration from New York. And I don't know. It just
Which is a big source of your inspiration.
Yeah.
But what would you say to somebody who's who wants to learn how to put their pieces together and layer?
Well, again, I think it's really important to like trust the pieces that you gravitate to and not try to force something that doesn't feel like you. And like for me, I'm a small person. I also like, I never felt comfortable in statement pieces. Like, you can rock a big earring. Like, jewelry doesn't wear you, but it does me. And so I always wanted to, you know, create really fine, delicate pieces that I could also, you know, I'm constantly, like, playing with my jewelry. And so I love the idea of being able to, like, switch it up constantly. And so, I don't know. I mean, I think a good starting off point is, like, you know, layering finer pieces that have sort of some thread of continuity to them. So like right now I'm wearing all blackened white gold with white diamond pieces. You know, if you're a yellow gold girl and you don't like diamonds, like mix and match your yellow gold pieces. And, you know, I love combining different shapes. And I don't know, just experiment and have fun. I think,
you know, but I think that was actually a really great point that one might not necessarily think of, which is like trust your instincts in the pieces that you're gravitating toward, because when it comes to layering jewelry, I think, you know, it can look very, very forced very easily, and I think that's when you're sort of trying too hard, right? To like
when it looks like an expression of your like natural style, it feels cool, and if you're trying hard, it's not a good thing.
Do you have any other jewelry pieces there that you can show us?
Yes, I actually pulled out this. This is called the Nova bracelet. This is one of my pieces, just because we were talking so much about geometric cuts.
We were. That's such a great display of geometric cuts, right?
This is, you know, I collect them obsessively. So this was a collection based on all geometric cuts, and I actually worked in platinum in my main collection for the first time, and I don't know, I love it so much.
What made you why the turn to platinum?
I think because there were so many elements in it. I like the idea of this kind of like purity, like monochromatic purity of tone. Also, I mean, these are like super intricate pieces, and each one, you know, handmade, and so there was something really elevated about platinum that I loved. It felt a little more serious.
Yeah.
Isn't a bad thing.
What else do you have? It's so exciting to look at all your pieces.
Yeah.
I haven't looked at your pieces in a while, and this is really great.
I know,
it's so fun. Let's see what else you have there.
So these are just more stacking bands. This is kind of a fun group. Sorry. Because my stuff is so delicate, it's not the easiest thing.
No, I think it's looking really great.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So these are all separate bands. This is the crown, the Ziggy, the Rex, and then another crown. And the fun thing about these rings is that you can really like combine them in different ways to create these different patterns, which I love.
Beautiful.
And, you know, if you only want to wear, like, for example, if you just wore these two.
Yeah, it's a whole different
such
look.
a different vibe.
Yeah, it's a different vibe.
And so these are relatively, I mean, I guess in the grand scheme of things, these are a pretty new part of our collection.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
But I love them so much.
One would be really, really pretty hanging from a chain, I think.
Totally.
What is that? Let's see that. Oh, how pretty. Yeah. Yeah, imagine that from a chain. Gorgeous.
And then, yeah, I mean, I just pulled out a couple of my, you know, my favorite things. This is the offset. These are all offset earrings, and these are those little prism hoops I was telling you about. And again, these are sold as singles, and you can really like combine them in whatever way you want. I sometimes just like wear one long guy.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Mm-hmm. We have a question from someone, from Leslie. How long did it take you to acquire the skills to design such beautiful jewelry in the way that you were envisioning? We talk about this on the podcast. We talk about sort of teaching yourself, and how long did it take before you felt like you'd mastered it and you actually had the skill to create the designs that you were envisioning in your head?
Well, there are definitely days where I still feel like I'm getting there.
Right, because you're always trying new things.
You know,
right?
You never really want to be too comfortable. And I think just sort of humility and also feeling like you're sort of riding the edge of feeling confident about stuff has always been sort of a good thing for me, because I think it has motivated me to keep pushing myself really hard.
Yeah.
I think when I started my line, you know, I was 28, totally arbitrary age. And
I think that's a good age.
Sometimes I look back on it and I'm like, I can't believe I was only 28. And then sometimes I'm sort of like, wow, like I was very fearless at that age.
We talk about that too on the podcast. You talk about how you sort of jumped into this being really fearless. We sort of use that analogy on the podcast. Like, what did we say? Like, if you build it, they will come, kind of thing. And I think you were saying that. I think it was after, at one point in your life, you were on a mission to get yourself your own studio, because you were sort of like, if I have this studio, then the magic will happen and I'll step into this role as this designer. So it's sort of the same idea, I would say.
Yeah, totally. And I think, I mean, to that point also, one of the things that I did to have my own studio was I worked for other designers, and I worked my ass off trying to learn a lot from other people who knew more than me. So my answer would be to Leslie that I think like learning from other people that you admire and also practicing for many years, that gave me the confidence that when when something finally came to me that felt right, I felt I had the skill set to act on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, definitely.
And how many years of learning was that? How many years were you sort of apprenticing and assisting and working for other collections total?
Like, I don't know, like 6 or 7 years. Maybe?
Yeah.
And I was ravenous for information. I went to every store. I went to museums. I read every book. Like, I was so hungry for information about it. It's an absolute obsession of mine. And so I think it was the kind of thing where like I had no other choice at some point but to do my own thing, because
that's right.
I'm so obsessive about it and so passionate about it.
You had already turned it to a quest. You were already, laying the groundwork for it. Fiona has a question. How often do you introduce new pieces into the collection? And is that guided by the materials you found, or is it something else?
So actually, I do introduce pieces throughout the year as I discover like new stones. So if I find something amazing and I'm inspired by it, I just make it. I don't wait till something, you know, till we
Right.
do
Right.
it. But I also do these kind of like groupings, collections, and I do them 2 to 3 times a year. It's good for me to just have like sort of goals, you know, and sort of groups that I'm working on together. So I think about them as collections. And then I kind of sprinkle in one of a kind pieces in between.
And Winnie, this is a great question. I sort of want to know we talk a little bit about this, but not quite this. What is the most elaborate engagement ring you've ever designed?
Oh, wow. I made a ring called the Skelett. It's on my website, and I don't think I have a picture of it. I can send you a picture of it. But it was for this really cool couple, and you know, the client had received a, like, I don't know, I want to say it was like a 5 or 6 carat princess cut diamond. She just was so not that girl. And her girlfriend wanted to propose, but they wanted to do it together. They wanted to design it together, or, you know, work on it with me together. So
Right.
I ended up building a cage, this sort of like frame around the princess cut, and then it crisscrossed it with an X over the top of the stone. So it was like there was like a cage around this princess cut that was holding it in.
So pretty.
Definitely the craziest ring.
Did it take a while to design?
Sorry?
Did it take a while to design?
Yes. Although I knew right away. I mean, I have to say that generally, you know, I've learned over the years that like my first idea is usually my best idea, and I kind of knew right away, but I kept like trying to come up with other stuff because I thought it was so crazy that they were never going to go for it. And I sort of apologetically like showed it to them with other designs, and they were like, "Oh yeah, that, you know, that one." And I've actually found that like whenever I take big risks on pieces, like typically it
works.
It works out because I don't know. It's just better to be brave and take a risk.
Yeah. And I love, it's very true that like a lot of the times that first idea, at least for me, it's like that first idea is the one that works, right? It just, there's some sort of freedom of thought that happens in that first idea that, you know, can often bring the winning choice, right?
Of course. And I think, again, it's like instinct, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Zena, which of your pieces, you talked a little bit about this earlier, which of your pieces have remained your personal favorites year after year? So I think she means that the ones that you wear over and over again.
Actually, I have one of them here. This is a ring called the Warrior Ring. I've actually been able to find stones cut like this, but when I first started out, you know, there really weren't that many geometric, like off shape geometric stones when I was first starting. And I went to the gem show in Basel because my mom is Swiss, so I happened to be able to like figure out how to go the first year I was starting my collection, and I found a stone this shape. It's not this actual stone, and I fell in love with it, and I call it the warrior shape because it just makes me feel
pretty
tougher when I put it on.
Yeah, it's so great.
Yeah, I always
so great.
So much.
Another question on cleaning. How do you clean your pieces? We're being asked. Jamie wants to know.
So we have an ultrasonic cleaner, which you can buy on Amazon. This. I also just like put like cold water in a bowl and dishwashing liquid and just like swish it around. I feel like that works the best.
And we've got a question from somebody that just came in on the chat. What do you find, just more of a general question about what you find inspiring about diamonds and gemstones? As an artist, as a designer.
I think there's just something so pure and beautiful about them. I mean, gemstones in general didn't interest me as much as diamonds did, which is funny because I've always been kind of a ragamuffin. So like,
Yeah.
it's like this funny contrast of like not dressing up and not brushing
Right.
my hair, but like wanting to wear
Right. No, which we love. We love that. We love the opposites
combo.
attract. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I think when diamonds do something like unusual and different is when I'm most drawn to them. So,
Yes.
you know, finding unusual cuts. I think there's just something so pure and beautiful about them. It's kind of hard to put my finger on.
No, pure is the perfect word, I think. From Sarah, is there anything you're looking to design that you haven't yet? Kind of a broad question, but.
I mean, a house.
Really? You want to design a house?
Yeah, my husband, Dimitri, and I have been kind of working on it. I think, you know, as a sort of natural extension of having my business and being an artist, and I started doing objects and furniture. I brought some.
We're going to talk about that in a bit. We're going to talk all about that. But you know, your line, your jewelry line is really inspired by architecture as well. So, and you went to art school, and you went to a school that focused on architecture. So it's sort of in your bones. It's in your blood, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah. And I mean, again, it's, you know, I was always really I drew and I painted my entire life. I think sculpture and larger scale things always really intimidated me. It just was kind of like an unmanageable like scale. Sorry, my doorbell is ringing. Okay. And then when I started making jewelry, it felt like this like way to connect with making three-dimensional pieces that felt really intimate, and like something really clicked for me. And then I've kind of slowly been ratcheting up the size. So like, you know, then I went to like small accessories, and then tables, and then mirrors, and then bigger pieces of furniture. And now I want to design a house.
So when you talk about designing a house, does that mean that you and your husband will be doing all the construction yourself, or as much of it as possible? Will you be like in there, fixer-upper style?
There. I don't know. I could paint. I could do a little painting, but probably not. I think it's more just envisioning the space.
The concept,
Yes, I don't think I'm great. Like very.
You're not going to swing a sledgehammer anytime soon.
I would do some demo.
Yeah, I mean.
But if I was building from the ground up, I think it would be pretty embarrassing what I was capable of doing.
Okay, so you touched on the fact that you've created these home decor items. With Holly Hunt, you've partnered with Holly Hunt to create home decor pieces as well as art pieces. Aren't there a couple of pieces? Did I see that?
Yeah. So actually, they showed my paintings, which are kind of similar.
That's right.
I have one of my objects here. Like we created these like tabletop pieces. So this is a crystal. It's Venetian glass, and then it has these sort of like streaks, like these kind of inky streaks in them. And
yeah, you can see all that nuance, all those little that detail is so stunning. It just takes it to a whole other level. How did the collaboration come about?
You know, I had started doing home pieces just for my studio. I designed tables, and you know, I had started doing it, and a couple of private clients, and they saw my work, and they I had done a show with my friend Fernando Mastrangelo, who's a furniture designer, and he was always really encouraging me to make furniture because he just saw how easily my jewelry could translate into furniture. And so I did these side tables for him in a mirror, and they saw it and they liked it. So I think they were trying to kind of shine spotlights on designers who were kind of more independent, smaller designers, and sort of help them grow that part of their business. And so we collaborated. It was amazing.
I had an observation, in describing your aesthetic in relation to this collaboration on your website. You say that you're minimalist. But why is it that, yes, minimalist is the perfect way to describe your designs, but they are kind of maximalist. There's a boldness to them, wouldn't you say? Am I right in that perception? It is minimalist, but there's also a sort of boldness about the items that you design at the same time.
I think you have to be confident in your choices when you're making really simple choices. If something is like, if you want to make something perfect and simple, it has to be a really strong shape or idea, or and I think that's always been my goal, is to create pieces that have a bit of toughness and like a real confidence to them, with like the fewest strokes possible.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's confidence. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like, especially with my jewelry, like, I don't want it to feel fussy, and I want it to make me feel more confident and stronger. And I haven't said this in a while, but like, I used to say I wear my jewelry like armor. I would wear like an X ring on every finger, and like, it just sort of, I don't know, it just made me feel more.
Yeah, more of who you are.
More of who I am, yeah. And I think,
I love that. Can you show us some more pieces from the Holly Hunt collab? Do you have anything else with you?
You know what? It is so heavy that it's kind of.
Let's see the other piece again, though. This is it. So this is, just tell us more about this piece. This is sort of a tabletop crystal, right?
Yes. So there are two. So there's like this vertical one and the horizontal one. If I can lift it.
Oh wow.
It's really fun because I designed everything like kind of jewelry-ish sized. Like, I did trays that were like this big, and like crystals that were
so what
this
else
big, and
they
were like, love it, but like, we needed to be like 20 times bigger. And I was
right. You're right. Like, we want real objects.
I can walk you over, and I can show you.
Yeah. What other types of items are there? So they're the crystals. They're dishes, but they're right. They're sort of geometrics dishes.
Oh yeah. Are you coming to bring them? My husband is listening, and
hi.
Here's.
Come say hi. Oh yeah, there it is. It's bigger than I thought. See, I love seeing this, because even on your website, you this is a big piece.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's so beautiful.
Oh, my assistant is here, and he's coming to display things for us.
Nice.
Maybe the vase over there? Sure.
So what materials did you use in that collection of pieces?
So that was, those are all lilac marble, which is like this very particular kind of marble that I love, and it's all white with black striations.
I'd never heard of lilac marble, but I'm not a marble. Oh, that's gorgeous.
And this is cool because the like tap comes out, so you don't have to carry the whole marble vase. But
that's so smart.
Thanks,
That's so smart. Thank you.
He just moved into the office. Like I
actually have a question about this. Let's skip to this question. This is my own question. So, speaking of collaborating, you went to art school with your husband.
I did.
Come over here. Who now works on your brand with you. I describe his work and how you guys work together. Does he want to come and say hello? Hey.
Sarah. Hey.
Hey, perfect. I love it. Special appearance.
I was watching from my office, and I thought I'd help out and bring stuff over.
I actually had a question about you. I was just thinking about collaboration, and I'm thinking about, and you and I have talked so much over the years, and it's so nice to see that you guys are married. You went to art school together. Mm-hmm. Describe your relationship, like how on the podcast you talked about how you working on jewelry and painting, like one complements the other. So how do you guys complement one another creatively as a creative couple? I'm always fascinated by creative couples. So how do you complement one another?
Well, I think the reason we work as a creative couple is because we were like creative collaborators long before we were a couple.
Right.
But how do we complement each other?
Well, I think we have a pretty similar kind of sensibility. I think one is we were trained in a very similar way. Mm-hmm. So there's like a common language that we share from going to school together. Yeah. And I think also we I think just generally we have a lot of respect for each other creatively. So we give each other kind of space and time to explain what each one is trying to do. And then
I mean, for me, it's like he knows me so like deeply, and he has for such a long time, and he's always been such a support of mine that I didn't really have to explain what I was trying to do.
It's that unspoken.
He just kind of understood, and I've always had so much faith in his talent and his.
I mean, I think when Eva was launching the brand, she was like, I'm doing this thing. It's kind of crazy, but I'm doing it, and I need a logo, and like in that split second, like I knew exactly what it was going to look like, and I think I went home and sent it to her, and she was like, "This is exactly what I was thinking. Just make it thinner." And that was it,
Yeah, and and you nailed it. You nailed it, right?
But it's like pretty much the only person. I mean, I'm pretty particular, and the relief of working with somebody who just gets it just makes my life so much easier. And I think we have so much fun working together. I mean, it's also like when you think of. You sort of get stuck in the place that you were when you met. So like sometimes we have like these moments where I'm like, we're 18 and we're like doing a campaign for Toomey, and like I did the bags and you're shooting it, and like it just is like we have these like pinch me moments where we kind of can't believe that we're
I love that.
Do this stuff together. And
I mean, we were like a couple of weeks ago we were doing a shoot here, and we were just like playing around and just felt like being back in art school together, and just like
so
playing
great.
The best.
And you'll have that forever. You'll be able to recapture these moments forever.
We're just really immature, and we don't want to move on with our lives. So
perfect.
And now we have a baby. Trust me, I am like sometimes I look at the situation and I'm like, how did we do this? This is crazy.
You did it. I know. I mean, I can think back to going to that first appointment of yours in the West Village, like going, wasn't that your parents, your mom's place? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember everything. I remember how beautiful everything was. And that was your very first collection. And I guess. And
like, I feel like you're part of the history of my brand because you've been a supporter since like absolutely day one. And that was 10 years ago.
It was 10 years ago, which I can't believe. And I remember you talking to me about this guy a lot over the years. Yep. All wonderful things.
It was the kind of thing where everyone was like, finally, you guys figured it out. But yeah, I think, and also he's extremely multi-talented. And so it's allowed me to do a lot more because I have someone by my side that can really pull off a lot of stuff.
What do you love about one another's work the most, would you say? You for him and you for Eva.
I feel like Dimitri is like super fearless and also extremely precise. And it's like such a winning combination. He's so brave when it comes to his work. And I think that's good for me because sometimes he pushes me to do things that I wouldn't be comfortable with.
I mean, I would just mirror that exactly. What I was
going to say, that sounds like you.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
Exactly.
I don't think of myself like that, really.
No, I think so. I feel like she takes such chances, and I'm always so impressed with actually her confidence and in the way that she designs. I mean, like, I don't know, again, like, it's hard because I feel like I'm like blowing smoke up my wife's ass, but I mean, like, just as like another, just as another creative person, as another artist, like, I'm really inspired, like, by her. I think she's so right on with so much of her decision making, and I also feel like she's really created. I mean, again, like, if we go back to the beginning, to the X ring, like, I say this to her all the time. It's like it's a very rare thing to create something that has never existed before.
That's literally what we say in the show notes to this podcast, is that to mimic what Dimitri's saying is that you are one of a rare few that are a creator and inventor of style. I think that's what you're saying, Dimitri, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's like, I tell her it's like two things that I always look, kind of like in the history of the company. And again, even if we just talk about the beginning, it's like the X ring, which again, copied by everyone and their mother.
We
and
talk
then,
about that on the podcast.
And then
too.
styling, how to style jewelry.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and then styling the jewelry. I mean, like really stacking and taking, and I think why stacking works so well with Eva's pieces. They're very delicate, even though they're tough, but you can wear as much of it as you want without it looking gaudy and kind of over.
I swear I did not plan that he was going to be.
No, I'm just, I'm a fan.
No, I'm so thrilled that he's joined us. This is great.
I know. I mean, he's kind of taking.
I'm
over
sorry.
my
I'm sorry.
Instagram
I'm
live.
gonna leave.
No, you know what? I wanted to say congratulations on your baby.
Oh, thanks.
And I wanted to ask you about, you talk, and this sort of applies to, you talk, speaking of wanting to build a house one day and building furniture, you built a crib for your son. So can you tell everybody here in the chat
I
about
didn't
that?
Picture.
Oh, yeah. Well, I definitely need
Is it here?
It is, but it seems crazy to bring it.
I'll bring it. Do you want me to bring it?
Sure.
We have a room set up in the office for Leo. He has
an office.
Oh, Leo's my nephew's name.
Oh, really?
Great name.
I did not build the crib. I just painted it.
You painted the crib. Sorry, I keep saying that you built the crib, but you painted it. Can you describe how you painted it? I mean, I just think this is like the coolest thing.
I don't know. I think I really enjoyed making things for him when I knew he was coming. And so I wanted everything to feel really special. And so I just painted this crib white, and then I put spots all over it. It's coming.
So great. Because what I am going to say, do we have something here to look at?
Yes,
this is really great.
Shows devotion.
That's Instagram Live for you guys.
Hold on.
Oh, wow. Fantastic. Look at that, and look at that blanket to complement it. That is so great.
But it's
that is so great.
Thanks.
People are going to need that crib, Eva.
I did some really obsessive compulsive stuff with Leo's.
Did you say why it's painted with spots?
Because his name's Leopard.
Yeah.
So his name's Leopard, and so I had to be on theme.
Yeah, of course, but it's a great piece, and I don't know, how many other furniture pieces have you worked on or created over the years, would you say?
I don't know. I mean, that's a good question.
Lots. Well, I would say an Eva Fehren home collection is inevitable, and it would be incredible. Are you having any serious talks about that?
We've definitely talked about it. I think the Holly Hunt collab was sort of the first step.
Yeah.
We wanted to see how that went, but yeah, absolutely. I would love to do that.
Yeah. And speaking of the Holly Hunt, what was that design process like? How did you work with them? And what is the price range for the pieces? Can you say?
Oh man, Amanda, do you know what the price ranges are for the Holly Hunt pieces? I think they're probably somewhere between $2,500 to $7,500. I'm guessing, but they're high price point for home pieces.
Yeah, but under 10. Under
10.
10.
Under 10,000, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so what was that design process like?
I mean, it was amazing. I kind of dreamed, of the craziest things I could think of, and then they sort of made them happen.
I love that.
It was great. And I mean, I based a lot of the shapes off of, jewelry shapes and motifs that thank you. Now he's plugging my phone in. You're getting so many brownie points for being
yeah, and live in front of 1,200 people.
I know. I'm sure a lot of ladies watching this poetry.
You're making everyone jealous.
I know.
We had a couple of I had a question about sort of what your next, do you have any ideas for what your next collection is going to look like? That you can share. I mean, obviously you don't want to share too much, but that you can share.
I've been very into mismatched, contrasting and combining different shapes. I would say that's probably.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Look at all those, look at all these people. So I just wanted to put this up for a second because the podcast is pinned there for anyone who wants to grab it really quickly. But, you know, Story and Rain Talks, episode 67, featuring Eva. There's a lot more that we discuss on the podcast. Somebody else, just to wrap up, in the chat asked, what is next for the brand? Is there, for the brand at large, is there any new categories or anything else that's going to happen after this pandemic, or, you know?
We just last year launched a unisex line, so I'm very excited about, you know, continuing to create, you know, unisex pieces and men's pieces, and then I think, you know, I think we've all had to really reinvent the way that we run our businesses. And so obviously my main focus is always on the jewelry, but I think also the way in which I communicate with my clients has had to be top of mind. And so that's really been the focus lately. So I think,
Yeah.
you know, there are some exciting big things on the horizon, but I don't want to talk about them too soon.
Yes. All right. Well, Eva, it's great to see you as always.
Thank you.
Everybody tune in to episode 67 of Story and Rain Talks for more with Eva.
Thank you so much.
Great to see you.
Bye.
Bye.